Minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank the chairman of the committee for the diligent work that they have done to do their part to get this funding bill, this appropriations bill, to begin to bring the costs down. And I think that it truly shows how dedicated many of us on this side of the aisle are to having government get its spending under control. We all know Washington does not have a revenue problem. It has an acute spending and priority problem. We see it every single day. My constituents in Tennessee see it, and they talk about it a lot. Last week, I heard a lot about the outsized spending that takes place in this town. And the thing that really offends my constituents is that Congress spends, D.C. spends money that they don't have. All of it is taxpayer money. And it is so inappropriate that the spending continues to grow year by year, and the taxpayer has to pay more. Quite frankly, Mr. Chairman, I think that there's something immoral about citizens and taxpayers struggling to live within their means so they can pay taxes to a government that refuses to live within its means. That's why every year I come to the floor and offer bills for 1%, 2%, and 5% across the board cuts, and then during appropriations season, I know I kind of wear a path in the carpet here, offering amendments that would cut a penny on a dollar, 1% across the board. And that is the nature of this amendment that I offer today. And I do it because my constituents know that Washington spends too much money, that we borrow too much money, and therefore what we are doing is capping and trading our children's future to the people that own our debt, because we couldn't be spending it if we weren't borrowing it. Go talk to China, Japan, OPEC, the top holders of our debt, and they own a lot of it right now. They are the ones who will be making decisions, probably decisions we won't like, and at some point they may call that bill due. Now, across-the-board spending cuts are not a partisan issue. 2010, Peter Orszag, who was the President's pick for Director of the Office of Management and Budget, turned to the executive agencies and departments, said, I want you just to go in and cut 5% across the board. Governor Christie in New Jersey, he is well known for turning around that state. It was a 9% across the board cut. Governor Cuomo in New York, a 10% across the board cut. Governor Perry in Texas, a 10% across the board cut. States do it because it works, because what it does is to engage rank-and-file employees who know where you can make these cuts. So I think it's time for the federal government to begin to do this. In our history, we've had 6 across-the-board cuts. They have ranged from 0.22% to 1% of covered appropriations. At those times, it saved us from $1.1 billion to $8.5 billion. For this bill, we need to be doing the same thing. And yes, we are below the funding levels, to the credit of the appropriators who have worked on this. We're below the 2014 funding levels. That's a good thing. But we need to do a little bit more because we are borrowing way too much. It is time to get our spending under control. I encourage my colleagues to support the 1% across-the-board spending reduction to this bill. And let's take one more step to bring this spending problem under control and move to a balanced budget. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back the balance of my time.